Hey guys, welcome to the Double Chin News. This is Dan.
It's Yi.
And this story really gave me a chuckle and one of those shaking my head moments. There's a young woman in China who got pulled over, and the police were basically like trying to see if she was intoxicated. And at first she was like trying to flirt with them.
The officer was like, "Can I see your license?" "I don't have that." And then she was trying to flirt her way out of it. And then the police officer was like, "Have you been drinking?" Because it feels like you've been drinking.
And then they're like, "Okay, let's do a breathalyzer." So she tried the old don't exhale, hoping to fool the cop breathalyzer trick, which doesn't fool anyone. Like, ready, go. And he's like, because there was a news earlier. We didn't do this news piece, but there was a news that earlier out of China this year where there was footage of a guy trying to fool the breathalyzer test. It was like one of the funniest things ever because clearly he was horrible at it, and he was like, and they were like, "Come on, dude." The cops weren't fooling for it. They were like, let's take you to the hospital, take a blood test. So she's like, "Okay, no, she did the test. She was found guilty of being intoxicated." But then, as they were taking her in and taking her mugshot, she asked or insisted that they use what's called
it's a photo editing app, and in China there's the one is called Meitu XiuXiu, and a lot of people know about it, even people who are not Chinese. It's so popular. And she was like, "Yo, could you edit that photo of me that you took? That's my mugshot, because I really don't want to be seen not edited."
This is why I find this so funny. So you kind of have to know the phenomenon of what the Meitu XiuXiu app is. Okay, it's basically translates as like beautiful photo retoucher.
Right? Exactly.
So for those of you who never encountered this app, and usually, everyone in Asia, everyone who's not even just Chinese, but people who do a lot of selfies, women, use this app.
Excuse me.
Okay, guys are not using this app. They're not using this app. I'll tell you right now, the only time I had my face apped with this is when you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna take those dark circles under your eyes away." I'm like, "Can you do that?" And it definitely looked good. So I was like, whoa. But anyways,
I was about to say, don't complain if it's done good.
Yeah, I gotta give it to you. I was like, whoa, that is magical. Because now I look very refreshed, and in the photo I didn't, and I had a blemish. So whatever, so those of you guys don't know, this app literally it's supposed to make you beautiful, and in a way, it does hide all of your blemishes that day. It even slims down your face.
It makes you paler, slimmer, makes your eyes bigger, takes away your blemishes. And now you can also use it to elongate yourself if it's a full body photo. So basically, people are saying that, this app really kind of takes away the truthfulness of the photo, because you can make any photo look good now. To a reasonable extent. Of course, if it's a really horrible photo, bad lighting, you can't really fix that. But if it's like a okay photo, you can really make it like, wow, it looks like edited.
Right.
It looks amazing.
And this is the cultural difference, right? Like in America, we don't use these.
You would be surprised. So as I was looking online for something similar to Meitu XiuXiu, because I was just curious, I've been using Meitu XiuXiu for a couple years now, and I like it. But I was like, I wonder if there's other apps that are better than this, because sometimes the effects of the Meitu XiuXiu are very strong, and sometimes there's other stuff too. And I realized there were several Western apps that does the exact same thing. And I believe people use it, and I saw my Western friends using something similar that just wasn't called Meitu XiuXiu.
Or I guess the cultural acceptance of it is not as high as where in Asia it's just like secondhand. It's like second nature. Like you take a girl takes a photo, the next thing she opens is Meitu XiuXiu, and then boom, boom, bam, and people know that they're like, "Oh, well, her face has been retouched." Where in the U.S., it's still kind of like, oh my, people are like taken back. They're like, "Oh my God, she used like this, like that's not even her."
You're right. Like in Asia, I feel like it's used by everyday girls, so no one's gonna be like, "Oh, how dare you Photoshop your face?" Everyone just does it.
And also they encourage each other to do it. Whereas like here, people, like you said, like she got so much backlash, but over there it's almost like, "Oh, you don't use that? Like how could you not use that?" And I've heard girls, basically their point is like, why wouldn't you present the best version of yourself? Well, here's the thing. that isn't the best version of yourself. That is a fake version of yourself. And this is why Mike and I, we always talk about reinforcing positive body image, especially for women. And men go through it too, but really for women. I just saw an article where a huge beauty vlogger started posting her face where she has like some kind of skin condition. Mm-hmm. This is Asian, I think she's Asian. And people were like, before she would never do it because people would shame her. And now she's like, you know what? Those days are done. Like, I am comfortable with who I am. I cannot get rid of this. This is who I am. And I applaud her. I applaud her so much, you know? Like, I don't have a problem with people putting on makeup, girls putting on makeup, guys putting on makeup, if you like that, because you want to look a certain way or you think you look better and it gives you confidence. I don't mind that.
I have to say, sometimes, whether it's Photoshop or whether you use a photo editing app like this, the results are pretty drastic. You do look drastically different. Now, sometimes when you just like have a bad day, you're just like, yeah, I still look good. But I follow a lot of supermodels on Instagram, and sometimes I notice that a lot of them will just take candid shots of themselves without makeup, and like, occasionally they'll have like breakouts and stuff like that. And I don't know why. And then I'm like, oh wow, she's human too. Like, it's okay for me to break out too. Like. Yeah. I'm not perfect.
Of course.
And she's supposed to be the epitome of perfect, but she also has a bad day.
Right.
So it does kind of like make me feel like, oh, I see, like we're all humans. Right. Maybe like this girl, right? She didn't want the officer to like put that photo out because she would be unedited. Probably because she also feels some kind of pressure. I mean, she might be drunk or something like that. But a lot of times, like, I swear, do you guys have that moment on Facebook, like all the ladies out there? I don't know. I find that this phenomenon mostly applies to ladies, but it's like when somebody else tags you in a photo, you actually get really nervous. Like I saw this on a forum somewhere where people are like, do you know that moment when somebody tags you in a photo, but it wasn't your photo, and you click it open and you look just it's not bad, but just not the way that you pose yourself to be, because a lot of times when you take your own photo, or even if you ask somebody else to take your photo, you'll be like in a really nice pose in your angle, but sometimes somebody else will take a photo of you and it's not your angle, it's not your lighting, and you just can look completely not the way you want yourself to look. Boy, you would get, like, some people will try their hardest to get that photo removed.
Oh yeah, every girl I know, 99.9% of the women I know, think like that, or like, oh my gosh, literally freak out if it's not the right angle. I mean, we have friends that will take 16 selfies just to get, and look, if you need to do that, I'm not knocking that, but I just don't like the fact that you're conditioned to think you need to look perfect.
It's just what I don't want to celebrate. They've cultivated their image to the point where and all of a sudden another thing did not fit that cultivated image, it's shattered. Right. Like, think about it. If you have like all these photos and you look, I'm assuming, for example, if you look nothing like yourself and all of a sudden somebody posts a photo and it's actually the way you look, which is not ugly, or like it probably is very beautiful, but because you've already done this for so long, it's all of a sudden it's a big shock to you as well.
There are beautiful women out there, but beauty should be celebrated, but it shouldn't be skin deep beauty that you see out there in the magazines, that you see in the movies. Beauty, literally, and we talk about all the time, like, it should really come from within. But of course, that's not the society we live in, and that's not the society. That's not what I'm going to teach my kids. That's not how That's not how I was raised, and that's not how I live my life. So I will always oppose this phenomenon of just, whatever it is that makes girls feel insecure, and I hate that, and a lot of guys, so it's not just women, but a lot of guys are like me, where we don't stand for that.
I follow a lot of makeup bloggers too, and sometimes they'll have no makeup on. Oh my gosh, they get slammed so hard, like, how come your skin's like this, blah blah blah. And I'm like, she's brave enough to like show you her face already, so could you just please pipe down? But then when somebody uses a photo editing app, the skin is perfect, like, because you edited it, like, everyone's like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, that's awesome, and like, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this. I use a photo editing app all the time, especially when I'm breaking out. I don't feel great about it, but then when the photo comes out great, and I was like, well, I mean, that looks pretty good. And then I'll post it, and then I look in the mirror, I'm like, okay, that's not really like matching up right here.
That app would be the equivalent to an app for guys that literally added apps. If there was an app for guys, it would be like, literally, like, it would be like, which body type do you want? Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then all of a sudden my arm would be like, poof. Or like David Beckham, and then I'd be like toned and chiseled. Here's like, that's the equivalent of that. And then like, do you want an instant tan, like one's toned darker?
No.
Hairless app. I mean, think about it. We could get rich. We could literally make a guy's Meitu XiuXiu, like hairless, like swimsuit body.
But here's the thing. The issue with all of these apps is that you're not like that. Like as soon as you go and meet somebody, and now this doesn't matter if if everyone who follows you is your friend, because they know what you look like, and they'll be like, oh yeah, she looks pretty good in this photo.
You don't have a six-pack, Dan. What happened?
Yeah, but then first of all, your friends will be like, yo, that's not you right there. And like how did you work out yesterday and then suddenly get this six-pack?
Are you sucking in your stomach?
Or like for example, like one of my closest friends, she'll be like, yesterday when I saw you, you used to have 4 pimples on your face, and this morning they're gone. How did that happen? And then I mean she'll see right through me. But then also like the people who don't know you, like people who randomly like say one of our fans, they'll be like, oh wow, like this looks great. Bumps into you on the street. It's like, that's not exactly what
you have deceived me.
I have been deceived.
The one equalizing photo opportunity in America is your mugshot. There is a phenomenon in America where people show celebrity mugshots just because that's the only time you see them in all their just horribleness, you know, like their bagged eyes, their no makeup, all their plastic surgery gone wrong. So it just shows the complete difference in culture, because here, when you get a mugshot, that is the only time where you're not, you know, you literally look horrible because it's a mugshot. You just got arrested.
Because I think they purposely make you look worse or something like that. Like the worst lighting, worst situation.
I'd like to know if the officer actually complied and was like, okay, here you go, you got 5 seconds. And then she's like, there you go.
Yeah.
Or he's like,
like, no, lady, come on, lady. Yeah. I think will probably be he said no. Most likely. The officer's like, first of all, you try to flirt with me, and when you did not succeed, you try to deceive me into you tried to pass the test by cheating me, and then now you're asking me to Photoshop your photo? Please.
Anyways, guys, let us know what you think of the story. Have you used Meitu XiuXiu?
Or something similar.
And what do you feel about it? So, thanks again for watching, guys. See you later.